Hello everybody and welcome to another video with Coach Oak. So today we're going through my top Pokemon teams throughout the generations. So I'm going to take you a little bit on, continued of Get to Know Me in terms of Pokemon, but we're going through kind of the teams I've used throughout the generations, and I'm going to be pretty liberal in terms of the rules I'm using about which team I show you, but I'll explain kind of each one. So some of them might be the team I've used most consistently. Some of them might be the first playthrough that I remember very fondly, or just kind of the team that I think works best for the generation that I've used multiple times before, because I've played through every game at least twice, I think. Yeah, so let's get started. First off, we're going to start obviously in Kanto. So we're starting with Yellow. I am going to do a team for Red as well. We're starting with Yellow because that is the first game I owned and first game I played through fully. First game I played some of when I was on a friend's. I played some Red, but Yellow is the first one that I owned and played through fully. And as such, first Pokemon that I started with was Pikachu. The classic, followed you around, little face, checked in on its feelings, and, you know, there's not too much to say about this, because if you played Yellow, you started with a Pikachu. There was no real choice involved. That's just how it was, and I'm glad it was that way. Nidoking is number 2, the first one we got on our journey. As you saw in my top 10 favorite Pokemon video, I love Nidoking from the first gen. It's one of my favorite and probably, in my opinion, the best early game Pokemon you can get still to this day. You can get it before the first gym, and it turns into this beast before the second gym, after a 3-stage evolution. So that's pretty awesome, and it's got awesome coverage, and it fits into pretty well every team. There wasn't too many other ground types that I would use. I probably would have used Golems more if I did much of the trading to get Pokemon, but I never really did that, so I don't really like Graveler. So Nidoking was kind of the ground type that I used, and it was also kind of the main wild poison type I used. And then this being Pokemon Yellow, we jump right into the starters we get given throughout our journey. So to take Bulbasaur, turn it into Venusaur. Yes, 2 poison types on a team. You'll find out often I have 2 of types I like on a team, but it's fine. It's just how it is in game, right? It's not competitive. Venusaur, we've talked about again in top 10 favorite Pokemon video, so please go check that out if you have not already. And yeah, there's not too much to say about this giant ugly toad other than it's the best grass type you could use, and I loved using it. So we do get Blastoise, the second starter. We did play with Blastoise. Do have some fond memories of Blastoise. While it's definitely my least favorite of the first gen starters, I think it's cool, and I did use it in Yellow often, and Yellow tends to be what I play most often when I go back to Gen 1. Yeah, so Blastoise was the one that got used, surfing around on this guy's back in the region as well. And Charizard, of course, the classic. He joins the team. Again, get starters all given to you, so I did use all 3 starters in pretty well every playthrough Yellow, because that's kind of what you did. And yeah, Charizard is pretty incredible. Just look at it. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And he's an absolute beast who did great things through my playthroughs. And finally, Snorlax. Snorlax makes an appearance. Once again, check out that top 10 favorite Pokemon video for a lot of these, because, well, I started in Kanto, so obviously those Mons are going to have an influence into my favorite Pokemon to this day. Even though they obviously are not all of my top 10, but that's how it is. So Snorlax makes an appearance here. And spoiler alert, you are going to see more Snorlax coming up soon, so we'll talk more about him as we go along. So here's our team picture from Yellow, the very first playthrough team that I did. And it's kind of still the team that I go back to most in Yellow. I don't think there was any real changes along the way in terms of Yellow. This is pretty well the team from the beginning to the end. The sets are what's changed to where I use my TMs and things like that. But the 6 Mons, the crew. So now we're going to go back to Red. This was the second game I played all the way through. I bought it after I played through Yellow. And yeah, so let's jump right in. So starter that I chose most often, I talked about this a little bit. So Venusaur and Charizard do get used fairly interchangeable for me, but the one I tend to enjoy using the most is Charizard in terms of your starters. So that's the one we're going to look at for this. But definitely Venusaur gets used a lot. And typically, the reason that I do go with Charizard is, even though there's very few good grass types and there's better fire types, it's a lot quicker to get one of the second or third best grass type in the game than it is to get a good second or third best fire type. So we're going to go with Charizard in the slot, as that's kind of what I've probably done most often. It's pretty close between Venusaur and Charizard. Very rarely Blastoise, but so that grass type we're talking about being much easier to get is Vileplume. You can get Oddish right around that second gym, and it becomes a Vileplume very quickly, and it does obviously the same typing as Venusaur with that grass poison, so it does a lot of the same things, just not as well, and not quite as cool. But Vileplume's cool. It's all right. I mean, Vileplume got used. I do have some fond memories of it, but it's not a mon that I'm too in love with. It's just kind of middle of the pack mon that was useful and used it. Executor is better, but you get it so much later that I'll use Vileplume so much more. Gyarados makes an appearance. Get that Magikarp up to a Gyarados. Top 10 favorite Pokemon video again. Check out Gyarados. Love it. It's beautiful blue beast, and it's just done so much on this team. Yeah, there's not too much to say about Gyarados. This was my water type. Include that fire, water, grass core. It's while it didn't often have a lot of good water moves it could use, it had enough to get by, and especially just thrash on things and destroy. You don't need to go too much fancier than that, and especially when I was playing through Gen 1, I was young, so I didn't get too fancy. I thrashed on things, I earthquaked on things, and flamethrower things. That's pretty well what I did. And speaking of that, Nidoking to just earthquake some guys and thrash on things as well. So obviously we talked about Nidoking, but there you go, ties right in with that Gyarados slot. And we get Snorlax making another appearance. Snorlax showing up again. Now there's 2 Snorlaxes you can get. Typically I would catch both of them, and typically I would use both of them on the team. So yeah, I used to run double Snorlax all the time when I would play through Red. Typically one was kind of more elemental, and one was more kind of psychic, psychic, body slam, things like that. And one was more like flamethrower, ice beam, surf, etc., etc. So yeah, double Snorlax has that for some fun times. It has just such a wide move pool, as well as Nidoking. Figuring out where to use all those TMs, just had so many options for different playthroughs that let me keep using the same team and keep it pretty fresh. So yeah, there you go, Snorlax making a double appearance. So now we're done with turn 1 for the teams that I want to show you here today. But we do have a team picture with the double Snorlax there, and we've got some shoutouts. So I mentioned Executor. I think it's just great. We've mentioned Venusaur. Arcanine does get a shout out. That's kind of the fire type that I would get if I started with Venusaur, which happened a lot. So I do need to shout out Arcanine here. But I don't really think of Arcanine as a Gen 1 mod, so it doesn't make quite the list. And Pidgeot, the classic early game bird. Pidgeot is designed really nicely too, so it did get you some. It deserves a shout out here. It deserves a little shout out. And very minor shout out to Starmie as well. In kind of virtual console that was released of the throwback games, I used to Starmie, and it was fun. It was really, really fun. I like using Starmie. It was just a lot of work to get and everything, that more than I would like to do, but I used it over Gyarados for that playthrough. And now on to Gen 2. We're going to go Crystal. That's the game. I know I played Gold through before Crystal, but I don't really remember that playthrough very much. I remember Crystal much more clearly. So we've got Chris from Crystal here, first female character, and I would play with her some. I don't know. The most recent playthrough of Gen 2 I did was with her and Crystal. My starter, the one that's been most persistent. So this team will be kind of the most persistent in Gen 2, has been Meganium. I think I used Cyndaquil to Typhlosion on my first playthrough, and I used Feraligatr a couple times after that. But then I used Meganium pretty well ever since. I like Meganium. I know it's not the best. It's probably the weakest competitive starter. But I did like using Meganium. I think it's fun. And again, there's not too many good grass types in Gen 2. Tangela, but it's pretty late game to get that. And like, there's some stuff, but Meganium's better than most. And there's the reason I didn't go Feraligatr, which would have probably been the other one I used. Typhlosion just didn't have the right move pool that I found. I like coverage and didn't have it. But Feraligatr I liked using, especially with the dark type. Getting bite right around the time of the Ghost Gym was very handy. But because there's so many water type HM moves in Gen 2, I just found it a lot easier to go with a different water type. Sometimes I would carry a second water type on the team just for the sake of HM Slave. But like you had Whirlpool, Waterfall, Surf. There was so much that I didn't really want to, like, I had to put them all on the one, but when I was a kid, and I didn't want to put my starter with so many HMs, so that's what I did. Poliwrath being the water type that I use more often. I would give it Waterfall and Surf most often. A lot of times I wouldn't even bother with the Whirlpool on it. I would just swap out for a different one at this time. But I love Poliwrath. Poliwrath is a classic. Again, not the best competitively. It needs better fighting stab, but throwing off a Dynamic Punch is really fun. Throwing off Hypnosis with this guy is really fun. You can mess stuff up. It's got a lot. Ice Punch on Crystal. It gets Ice Punch as well. So it can do some really fun things. I really enjoyed using Poliwrath. It's one of those that I just loved as a kid. I don't really know why per se, but I just loved Poliwrath as a kid, and I still do love Poliwrath. It's pretty cool. Arcanine. Get a little sooner. Magmar deserves a minor shout out here. I did use Magmar some. I like Magmar, but Arcanine would get used very, very often. Yeah, there's not much to say. It's kind of one of those Pokemon. It's beautiful, beautifully designed. It was originally intended to be a legendary, as probably most of you know. And I think that's cool that it used to be a legendary or was intended to be that and then became accessible for everybody. And Arcanine's really cool. It's really cool. It's really well designed. I like the color scheme. I like the stripes. I like the fur. It works really well. I'm glad to see it having a resurgence in VGC this year. Next spot goes to Heracross / Scyther. You could even give a minor shout out to Beedrill. Typically there was a bug type. Heracross is my favorite of them. Scyther I used a few times and typically was the best in Gen 2 because Heracross didn't have a great move pool at the time. And Heracross was a pain to get because you had to headbutt so many trees. Scyther, if you could get in a bug catching contest, I would typically put it right on the team. Or Beedrill as well. Those were obviously the two targets in those. You could also buy one from the Game Corner if I'm not mistaken at this time. But yeah, Scyther is just really, really, really strong in Gen 2, and Gen 1 too as well, but I always think of it as Gen 2. And I know there's Scizor, but I never really did the trading thing. In-game, I never really did the, like, find a friend, trade with them, trade back type thing. I didn't do it very much. Not for Pokemon that I actually use, but Scyther, yeah, it does a whole lot. And you get that for Fury Cutter right at the beginning, which is kind of its best in the stab in the end, but, you know, just get this thing out on rock types and you're going pretty good. Noctowl. I always set the game tonight for Noctowl and Ariados. I would typically use Ariados for a little while and then get rid of it because it's not the strongest, but minor shout out to it. Noctowl, I love the design. I wish it was a little stronger. I wish it had the Psychic type. If it had the Psychic type, it would be so much better. But Noctowl was really fun. I love the design. It just looks great. Hoothoot's a pain in the butt, but it's fine. It grows in a Noctowl. It's okay. yeah, just really fun to use. The early game bird, so it stuck on the team for both utility and because it could do enough in battle, enough. And Hypnosis again. I like the Hypnosis spam between Polyrath and Noctowl. It worked really well. Last spot goes to I'm kind of a mix here again. I think this is the only gen I do the mix completely, but Crobat and Dragonite. If I decided I wanted Dragonite and would spend the effort to get the coins and the game corner to get that Dragonair, or sorry, Dratini, which would then be the Dragonite, would. But I do love Crobat. I do really love Crobat, and Zubats are so early game and accessible that it was just fun to get, and I love that they took them on the Golbat that everyone hated, Gen 1, and said, hey, if you love it, it's going to turn into something really darn cool. And good work, Game Freak. Good guys there. So yeah, these guys make an appearance. It was one or the other type thing, and it's fairly interchangeable in terms of persistence. So team picture, this is what I kind of went with as my final team picture. Went with Heracross and Dragonite just because, I don't know, they're kind of a little bit cooler, and they in the remakes they were more where the side I went to in terms of Heart Gold, Soul Silver, versus the others. So yeah, there's Gen 2, a couple other shadows. So yes, the red Gyarados got used a lot. Second water type, things like that. I love the red Gyarados because it's the shiny that they give you, and it was cool, and it had a cool story that's persisted. And Seeking as an HM slave for all the water type moves got used a lot, and it was cool. I just like Seeking. It's something that I've tried to use sometimes in competitive, and yeah, it doesn't really work. But it's Seeking's a cool looking Pokemon. As a kid, about this time I think I had some fish, so Seeking was just a classic fish with the horn, which is always cool. Yeah. And now we're going into Hoenn, my favorite gen, of course, as mentioned before. So we're going to go through Ruby, and this is kind of my first playthrough team that I remember, and then I'll do one from Emerald, which is my most consistent team. Yeah. Blaziken was my first starter. I pretty much did Fire type as the first starter for the longest time. And actually, I don't know if I ever broke that as my first playthrough starter being Fire type. I'll have to think that over. But yeah, Blaziken. Blaziken's cool. Sky Apricot I really loved at the time. It just seemed really, really, really cool. High jump kick, like it just risk and reward, but it's cool. It was really fun. I like that it can go physical or special as well. Especially because this time I wasn't really aware of the splits too well and all that. So Blaziken got used, and I haven't regretted it. I do really enjoy Blaziken. Breloom, double early game fightings, but Breloom's just really cool. Get it pretty soon in. I liked it a lot more when I was younger too. I still like Breloom, but it's definitely lost a bit of its sparkle for me. But fond memories of getting that Shroomish and Breloom, and Effexpore was fun as a kid. Just opponent would hit you, ha, you got poisoned, ha, you're paralyzed, ha, whatever. It was just really fun. Yeah. Whiscash. Whiscash, I remember using this Whiscash, and I loved it my first couple playthroughs, and then it kind of, again, lost its sparkle, but I have fond memories with Whiscash. Water ground type, kind of the Swampert light in a sense, so I felt kind of like I was getting two starters. Yeah, once I could fish for that Barboach, get that Whiscash, and I don't know, I just like it. It's kind of derpy, but kind of pretty at the same time. I don't know. Whiscash is fun. Whiscash is just fun. Minun, probably the randomest Pokemon in, maybe not. There's an argument made for one other being more random. I think it was just because I was so used to Yellow, having that electric type, Pikachu type that clone. it just brought back memories, right? So Minum, caught Minum. It stuck on the team, and while it became a massive liability, it, it was fun to carry this guy as far into the game as I could, even when he got super low level compared to everybody else and couldn't really do much. It was kind of that mon you cheered for to get the kills type thing. So Viper, I honestly can't think of a playthrough where I haven't used a Viper. In Gen 3 games, I love Viper. I love it, I love it, I love it. It can run so many of my favorite moves. It's so cool designed. I like Arbok, but Viper just seems that much cooler, and you get it at a good point, and it's powerful and can run both sides, and it's so cool. I love Viper. It's that mon I cheer for. Mega Viper would be awesome. I can dream. Swallow, not much to say. The early game bird. Swallow's cool. Evolves early, a little different than the other early game birds, but Swallow's cool. It made an appearance. It stayed on the team. It was my flying type. Yeah. Team picture. Minum riding on Swallow's back. Not quite Pikachu on Pidgeotto's back, but it's close. Emerald. So this is probably my team that has been used the most times because I've played through Emerald the most times for sure. It's also the one that I like the most. And I have the fondest memories of this team. And using this many, many times in Battle Frontier. And yeah, the nostalgia is real with this team. So we got Sceptile, my most used starter. Again, kind of became the most used because of the other typings being available and the other mons, not so much it being better than the other stars. I love Grovyle. A lot of times I would leave it as a Grovyle for as long as I could, because I do like the design of Grovyle better. I don't like the tail and the yellow dots on Sceptile, but I love the face and everything. Sceptile's cool. But Swampert and Blaziken are right with it. This is probably the gen with the best starters. Yeah. So Sceptile makes a good core and was competitive enough with Leaf Blade, which was a really, really good move at the time, and still is. With Camerupt. Camerupt, there isn't too many fire types you can get in the game, but you can get Numel fairly early, and it's a really good one. You get it pretty well at the same time you can get Torkoal. Those are pretty well the two options that are early/good options. So I like Camerupt. We've gone over it in Top 10 Favorite Pokemon video. Talked about the Mega there, but we talked about the regular a lot more. The regular's what got used most. And yeah, I love using Camerupt, two of my favorite types, and just kind of, it's one of those mons you just like a lot. Even though it's got many faults, but I still like it. Gyarados makes another appearance. The three of those guys combined made up a really good core for Battle Dome and things like that. Yeah, there's not too much to say here. We've talked about Gyarados many times. So, Seviper makes another appearance. Ghost Viper, it's awesome. It's kind of was off in my fourth at the Battle Frontier. But there's one more that we'll see later that was sometimes steal that fourth spot. So this one's kind of a slash, but not really. So these two would either both be on the team, or it would be one of them dependent on if I put in the next one, which we'll talk about later. But Crobat, Heracross, we talked about both. Heracross moveset was getting better at this point. Crobat's still awesome. You get Heracross a little later on in the game. So it was kind of, sometimes Heracross would replace Crobat, sometimes they go back and forth once we got there. And yeah, fly spam, having fly is, a thing you need, so Crobat got used lots. Now, so Tropius making an appearance with Metagross, that's not a direct comparison at all. I recognize that, Suedo Legendary Beast versus Flying Banana Tree. Tropius is my favorite HM slave of all time. So if I use Tropius in my team as an HM slave, I would Sorry, I got distracted by those beeps. I'm sorry. That's Discord going off. So, if I use Tropius for Fly, Strength, Rock Smash, all those HMs that I didn't really want to put on, it would stay on the team over one of Crobat or Heracross. And then eventually, after you beat the Elite Four, Metagross I'd get the Beldum Steven, it would become Metagross, it would take Tropius' spot in the squad, more or less, as we went into Battle Frontier, because I'd stay in Battle Frontier for the longest time, so I didn't need the HM Slave, so Tropius would get kicked out for Metagross when battling, and I guess sometimes Metagross would kick out Crobat or Heracross as well, if I was doing some journeying as well. So Metagross would kind of take that 4th spot from Sniper a little bit as well in the Battle Frontier, because it's physically a better battler, but yeah, Tropius, I've got such a fond spot for Tropius in my mind. I don't use HM Slaves often, but in Seaking are the main two, but Tropius for sure is the better of them. Team picture, these are the guys I went with for the final team picture. The Double Snake, you got the 2 bigger beasts and some cool mons in there. Shout out to Roselia as well. Pretty well if I did not use, if I used anything but Sceptile, Roselia would very, very, very often make an appearance. And yeah, it deserves a shout out. So we're going to go through Gen 4. I do love Gen 4 as well. It's one of my favorite gens as well. We're going to go through Diamond first playthrough, and then we're going to do kind of the general team. Infernape, first playthrough, Firestarter, no surprise. The firefighting's cool. Didn't mind that I was doing it for a second time, same as Blaziken. Designed, I think Infernape is better than Blaziken in terms of design and things like that, so it was cooler. I liked it. It felt like a step up. Great job. Do it again. Roserade makes an appearance. We just showed out Roselia. I do like the design of Roselia a lot better, but Roserade's really, really good. Badu and Roserade coming in was really cool. And yeah, Roserade made an appearance as a good grass type. That kind of grass poison happens a lot with my teams because I like poison and they work so well with grass. So that's the thing. Gyarados shows up again. Gyarados appears a lot if you haven't figured that out. Yeah, Gyarados is one, like, it's not my favorite mon, it's up there, but it's just, it works so well on so many teams. Staraptor, early game, one of the few things that can rival Nidoking as an early game mon. The best early game bird. Hitting close combat with Staraptor was awesome at the age I was here. Yeah, Staraptor's beaut. Luxray, another great early game. They give you a lot of good early game stuff in Gen 4. They gave you, like, if you wanted to make your team by the first gym, you pretty well could. Luxray being another one of that. Yeah, cool electric type. I don't like it as much as some people. I don't know, it just feels like it's missing something to me, even though it is really cool. And it feels like one that I should like more than I do. It just feels like it's missing a little something to really push into top echelon, but I do have fond memories of it. More so battling it, though, in that 8th gym. Bronzong, the only rival for most random one besides mine. I don't even like Bronzong that much. But as a kid, Bronzor when it appeared, I was like, what the heck is this thing? And this, I don't know what it is, but I want to use it. I could take hits, which I thought was cool at the time, and I just stuck with Bronzong, and it stayed on the team, and it did some good work. I don't know what else to say here. Bronzong showed up, and Hypnosis shenanigans brought me back to Gen 2, I guess. Yeah, Bronzong, that big pest with the weird design that it is, made an appearance. Team picture. Does Bronzong not look so out of place there? Just so out of place. Platinum playthrough. So this is going to be more general Gen 4. Platinum's the one I played through most. Yeah, similar to our Emerald walkthrough. Torterra, it's grown into my favorite from the generation. It's probably the one I use most. I know it's probably, again, the worst one, but grass type starters tend to be, I start with fire and then I grow into grass type starters. That tends to be my pattern. Rapidash. I liked using Rapidash in 4. I don't know. You get in Ponyta early. It was not something I'd really used much of, but I liked the design of. But yeah, it was easy to use, and it was really enjoyable to ride around Firehorse. Um, Gyarados is here again, guys. Staraptor, we just talked about. Staraptor's awesome. And Garchomp. I love Garchomp. Hunting down that secret passageway to go get the Gible is one of those things I kind of find out after the first playthrough that I then did like every other playthrough since. So Garchomp makes an appearance. Garchomp's a beast. Great Suedo legendary. Great. And obviously after playing through one time, seeing Cynthia's Garchomp, it came in and took a spot away. And Rotom, I love Rotom, hence why it's got all the pictures. It felt like a legendary. We talked about this in top 10 favorite Pokemon video, but it felt like a legendary. It felt special because it was hard to catch, and you went and found it, and it was kind of that, that small electric type that I often would have on teams, and Rotom's my favorite of those by far. I adore Rotom. It's the cutest little thing, and the backstory on it and everything. It's really awesome. When it came out of that TV, I got so excited that I'd done things right to go get this, and it was now a member for life. And there we go. That's the squad. This is probably this is up there. This is up there in favorite. Gen 4 I played a lot, and I enjoyed these. Yes, I'm aware there was a massive ice weakness. It's a thing. It's an in-game team. It's fine. It's moving on. Shoutouts, Electabuzz and Gallade. Yeah, not too much else to say. Shoutouts to them. Props to both of them. Use them a lot too. But not enough to make a team. We're going Gen 5. Gen 5 started playing less, but still okay amount. But yeah, let's go through. This kind of general team for both Gen 5, Black and Black 2, we're doing separate because they're just so different. So Emboar, we're doing the firefighting thing again. As much as I'm sorry to say this, Emboar, you were stepped down from Infernape, so this one felt kind of disappointing. Yeah, I like Tepig though. I don't know. Emboar was fun. Heat Crash was really fun. I like that mechanic. Emboar feels like he could have been designed a lot better by switching up the flames on the tusks and stuff. I don't know. It just needs a little tweak. Yeah. Ferrothorn, I love Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is awesome. It's one of my favorite grass types. And one of the reasons I didn't need to use grass type starter very often in Gen 5 because there was Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn is epic. Love the ability, love the design. I just think it's really cool. There's not much else to say there. Seismitoad, I did use Seismitoad in the water type a lot. I think it's cool. I like the Toad thing, as we found out with Poliwrath and with Venusaur, and I use lots of Toad Pokemon. Heck, even Toxicroak I used a fair amount, but yeah, I like Seismitoad. It's beautifully ugly, and Water Ground's a fun type. If Whiscash can get put on a team, so can Seismitoad. Crocodile, I think 90% of the world use Crocodile in Gen 5 playthroughs. It's awesome. You get it at a good spot. It's just really cool and really good. And the two different type abilities, hunting for whichever one you actually wanted was always fun as well. Galvantula, get it in the same spot as Ferrothorn, Charge Stone Cave. It left you with a lot that you could just up your team to that next level and kind of fill it out at that cave. And Galvantula is cool. Joltix is kind of cool too. It's being so tiny is kind of weird, hard to wrap my mind around, but Galvantula is really cool. I still like using it to this day. Yeah, it's well designed and I like the yellow and blue. And Pheasant, it's a bird type. That's bird spam, best spam. Yeah, there's not much to say about it in Pheasant. It just was kind of there to fly. That's about it. But it's there, so props to it. Black 2. Samurott became the starter used. It's not often you'll see water starter, but Samurott's one that actually filled that role. I like Megahorn, Revenge with it as well, the good coverage with water and ice, and it just, Samurott's cool. Its design is weird, and I don't like the first two. I like Samurott's design, but I also hate Samurott's design, so I don't know. Samurott and I have a weird relationship. It's on again, off again, but it's the one that was most used, so we're going to go with it. Arcanine, you can get it early in Black 2, or sorry, Black 2 White. Arcanine might be one of them specific, I can't remember. No, I don't think so. I think it's both. It's Elekid and Magby that are specific. Yeah, you get it early in the new updated region. And Arcanine's awesome. We talked about it earlier, so it makes the team. And again, why we didn't move to a grass starter this time is because Ferrothorn is so great that it made me be able to break my pattern. Go Ferrothorn. Crobat makes another appearance, get it early in the sewers, and you kind of got at a point where it was viable right away at the next gym, and it became a Crobat fairly easily, and this is the games where Crobat Sean was in Black 2 and White 2. They set it up perfect for Zubat and Golbat and Crobat. It was the right point for this as a flying type and as a poison type, and just to do things the right way. Crobat was set up for success in Black 2, White 2. Sigilyph does make an appearance. Sigilyph and Pheasant kind of went back and forth with Black, but Sigilyph was used a fair amount more. It's good. It's surprisingly good. Some days I like it, some days I don't. In terms of design, it's weird, that's for sure, but I don't know if it's beautifully weird or just weird. But yeah, Sigilyph makes an appearance. Electabuzz often in White 2, I believe, was the one Elekid was specific to. Yeah, so we'd use Elekid. We do get the Elekid, whose Elekid's really designed well, and go to Electabuzz. Not Electivire, because again, the trading thing. And I kind of like Electabuzz just in terms of nostalgia as well. Yeah, go Electabuzz. Elekid's awesome. I love the design of Elekid. Best baby Pokemon design, I think. I might retract the statement later, but I'm gonna go with it for now. Team picture, aren't they pretty? Ferrothorn's awesome. Shoutouts, Crustle. I didn't use Crustle a lot, but I always tried to use Crustle just because I love Crustle. It's cool. It's kind of derpy, but it's really awesome. And Darmanitan, specifically Zen mode Darmanitan, I would use a fair amount. Yeah, Zen mode seemed really, really cool at the time that I was playing through this. Now, obviously, it's not that good, but it felt special, legendary type deal again. Suppose I should also shout out Volcarona as well, but I didn't use it that often. But it was set up like a legendary because it was originally Nintendo legendary, like Arcanine, and there we go. We got 3 fire types that felt special, which is always fun. And another reason why Samurai got used between Ferrothorn and those 3, there you go. Gen 6. So this is probably the games I've played through the least, but they're also kind of they were the first ones I kind of on my way back into Pokemon. When they announced ORAS, I went out and bought Y. Because I was looking forward to ORAS, and that was kind of, I went and got 3DS, went and got Y, because I was ready for ORAS, and that just might as well play this so as to not skip a generation. But I did kind of cheat. This is the only gen where I didn't use an actual starter from the game. I got Chespin. This was my kind of first playthrough, and I've really only done 2, maybe 3. I can only remember 2, and one was a Nuzlocke, so we're not really going to count that. I think I had to have done 3 because I did a playthrough with Delphox as well. I just don't remember it. But yeah, so we got Chespin, became Quilladin. I like Quilladin better than Chestnut, by the way. I don't know, Quilladin's cool. Chestnut's arms are weird length. But Quilladin got dispatched when, on a Wonder Trade, I got a Chlorophyll Bulbasaur, and Venusaur took over. Chlorophyll Venusaur's awesome. And when my second starter that we got, the Kanto starter, was turned into Drought Mega Charizard Y. Well, there you go. Chlorophyll Venusaur's taking your spot. Chestnut, I'm sorry, that's just how things are gonna be. Because those two are awesome combo together, and it brought back nostalgia and helped to bring me back into Pokemon as well. Those two combined. So props to whoever traded me that Venusaur. I wish I had got X earlier, so I could have kept those instead when I went to do another playthrough. But I'm sorry, that Venusaur's gone, even though it's part of the reason I'm back. Talonflame's cool. I used it. Yeah, I have 2 Firefly. So, you know, the thing. I've got 3 flying. Because Gyarados is back. Snorlax is back. And Lucario kind of randomly appears. I used the one that was given more often than not. I'm not big on Lucario, but it's good. I like having fighting types too. Yeah, there's not too much to say about Lucario. They gave it to me for free. I used it. It can Mega as well, so, you know, I like the Mega thing, so I would keep 2 Mega Stones in action, and, you know, it's in game, so you just had to choose carefully for the actual important battles, but it worked. That's a very Kanto heavy team. Very Kanto heavy, and I'm aware of that, but nostalgia was a reason to come back, so. And now we're getting to the fun stuff. Gen 7. So, I'm going to give you my first playthrough of Gen 7. I'm 2.5, 2 3/4 playthroughs in. Going slowly through the third one, but that's fine. So this was Sun. This was my first playthrough of the team. I kind of planned out from the releases that I tried to hold out and didn't quite make it all the way in terms of not seeing the Pokemon ahead of time, but I'm glad I did the way I did. Incineroar, obviously, there's no surprise there. It's my #1 favorite Pokemon of all time, so, you know, it was the one I used. Wishiwashi, I like the gimmick of Wishiwashi. It's cool. Took over for Gyarados in terms of in-game stuff. And the fact that you get it like 1 level away from being able to go into school form is, you know, good guy Game Freak. Same thing with Crobat getting that Evo Gen 2. Yeah, Wishiwashi is really cool. It's a really good in-game Pokemon, and at some point it's going to find a niche in competitive, I feel like. But it's got, obviously, you know, HP and speed holding it back, but it's got great everything else. And it's really cool, so I used it. And I enjoyed it. Lurantis, I went with Lurantis first. When they first came out, I was much higher on Lurantis than Serena. As things have gone on, I've gotten progressively more and more into the Serena, and less into Lurantis. But Lurantis was fun. I did good things on that first playthrough. Discovering with this guy that Leech Life was now up to 80 was awesome. I love Leech Life. It was one of my favorite moves. It just sucked. And now it's good, and that's awesome, because I would run on Incineroar too. I would run on a lot of stuff, because Leech Life is great, especially at 80 BP, with Bug type, one of my favorite types, and Recovery, just so good. Thank you, Game Freak. You're great. That Leech Life buff is just clutch. Salazzle. This is a case where I not fully researching, kind of bit me in the butt of it a little bit, because I wanted Salazzle, I got Salandit, I was waiting for it to evolve. I hadn't looked up evolution methods and levels yet. And then I found out, I eventually was like, when does this thing evolve? Like, I felt like it should have. And I went, oh, no, I have a male Salandit. Nope, that's not evolving. I was like, well, this thing's starting to suck already. I need to go back and grind to get the female Salandit to become Salazzle. Please, oh please. So that took way too long. And then I finally got one. And it became Salazzle, and I wasn't disappointed. It's cool. Salazzle's really cool. It's really well designed. It's kind of an internet darling, so there's you know, it's just a really cool design. The Harem the reverse Harem is kind of weird for Pokemon to use, but it's kind of cool. It gives it some character. Yeah, Salazzle's cool. I don't regret using it at all. It's 2 of my favorite types combined into a unique typing, so I won't complain one bit. Mudsdale, I used Mudsdale, great ground type. Thought it was fun. I had been around some Clydesdale horses when I was younger as well, so it brought back some real life memories, and Mudsdale's just really cool. So I can't complain too much. Mudsdale's a beast. Stamina is great in game, especially. It's just Toucannon. Toucannon made it a lot of the way, and then it was the eventual replaced by the legendary type thing, which obviously, if you haven't noticed, I did not count the legendaries because that just would be taking move slots from other mons that deserve more, like Toucannon in this video. So Toucannon's cool. The one I had wasn't Skill Link, which was unfortunate, and that's part of the reason it got dropped. But it's still good. Beak Blast is really fun. Having that with a, Skill Link is kind of a weird combo, but Toucannon's really cool. I know it's somewhat strange, the evolution line, but I think they kept enough continuity that it works. Trumpbeak's weird. The lips on its beak is just messed up. But Toucannon and Piggyback are both great. And Toucannon looks like a grumpy old man, and some days I feel like a grumpy old man, even though I'm not that old, but, that's how it's going to go. Team picture. Shoutouts for Gen 7 is going to be big, because the team that I would use has changed a lot, and I haven't really gotten to that persistent team yet, which is what I would have showed. So, we've got a shout out page. That's a whole team worth. These are not all from the same playthrough. These are kind of spread out over the next 2 playthroughs, but shout outs. Vikavolt, Serena, Alolan Marowak, Togedemaru, and Araquanid, all new. Marowak obviously getting the Fire and Ghost type, which is cool. I like the Fire Spinner. I don't know if it needed to go Ghost type, but hey, I'll take it. Hariyama. Hariyama's a mon that I never really liked that much, despite how much I played Gen 3. Gen 7 hits, and suddenly I love Hariyama. I don't know really why it suddenly became a thing. Maybe it's because I started watching Japanese wrestling as well. Maybe I just got too many Japanese hobbies that are big in Japan. I don't know. But the sumo wrestler thing came back, and as a kid, I have some fun memories of sumo wrestling with people, just kind of as jokes or just as fun as kids. So, Hariyama's cool. Hariyama's really cool, and it's really good as well. Yeah, I like using Hariyama. I don't know why I focused on it so much. The others are cool. We mentioned Serena already. Vikavolt kind of fights with Toucannon for spots, but Toucannon can fly, so sorry, Vikavolt. Togedemaru is awesome, and it's really cute. It's probably my favorite Pikachu clone. Even though Minun actually made it to the Hall of Fame, Togedemaru is better. And Araquanid's just a beast, and cool, and it's bug type as well, so that's awesome. If I was to do Gen 7 for our first time again, make a new team, because I said this is kind of what I'm thinking right now, my persistent team would be Incineroar, Araquanid, Serena, Hariyama, Mudsdale, and Vikavolt gets a slight nod over Toucannon. Yeah. And favorite team of these is that Hoenn Emerald squad with the core of Sceptile, Camerupt, Gyarados, and Seviper. Generally with Metagross and probably Tropius being the favorite, but I love Heracross too. I don't know. There's that kind of group. That group's best group, Emerald, best game, and that's just how it works. So there you go for that. And my top team for in-game, taking the mons that I've used often and kind of making the best competitively based-ish team. Out of kind of the ones that I've used often and persistently, so obviously we've got Mega Y and Venusaur. They made many appearances. Gyarados appeared so many times that it has to be here. Snorlax appeared a lot. It's here, that kind of thing. Staraptor, as I said, best game bird. That's kind of always have one. I often have an electric type. Galvantula takes the spot as kind of the best one of that, and I wanted to get a bug type in here, so there you go. Good speed, good power. Good balance, good just pairs really well with each other. Not having a ground type is strange for me though. I'm just noticing that now. But there you go. There's my teams throughout the generations. Long video, I'm sure. Thank you for sticking with me. So have a nice day, because Coach Oak said so. See everybody.